What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Seawater YouTube channel, where it is finished. Carlisle United 1, Solihull and Moors 1 in, well, another reality check for Carlisle. I'm going to be honest, it was a terrible game of football. I thought Carlisle were the second best. We looked intimidated in front of our own fans, and you could sort of say the same for Saturday. We started slow. We edged into the game after a decent amount of pressure, but again, we give Solihull the opportunity to play yesterday. We invited the pressure from Solihull Moors, and it's still early days, don't get me wrong, but we got from the Boreham Wood game that people are going to come to Brunton Park and they're going to want to play, and they're going to want to put a performance on. They're not scared of Carlisle United, and Solihull were the same. Again, we invited pressure. We looked slow. We looked sluggish. We looked lack of confidence as well. I mean, there was a lot of negative play, I thought, from Carlisle. There was a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand in opportunities sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards. Of course you do. But a lot of sideways passes, a lot of backwards passes. And even when we went 1-0 down, obviously we had a bit of a flurry after Thomas had scored, when the atmosphere sort of went up a little bit. But there was just a lot of negative play, a lot of sideways balls, a lot of balls going backwards when you just want them to go forward. And with a bit more confidence, that comes with the attacking player. But I thought Carlisle were poor. I thought that the team selection was, you need to change it and freshen it up. 2 games in 4 days is a lot, don't get me wrong, but I thought the team selection was a bit off today. I'm not a fan of Jack Ellis in midfield. I think Jack Ellis is a brilliant footballer, but I wasn't a fan of him in midfield. I think we missed Callum Whelan massively yesterday in the midfield. I think Whelan plays his role to perfection. I think he knows what he's doing. He knows when to get forward. He knows when to sit back. And for quite a young player, I think his experience is needed in that midfield, to be honest. It's nothing against Jack Ellis. He gets asked to play where he plays, and it's great that he's versatile, but I'm personally not a fan of Ellis in the midfield. I thought Josh Grant probably had one of the worst debuts in the Carlisle shirt I've seen in a very long time. It was not a good performance from Josh Grant, which is disappointing, because I thought he was going to be that physicality in the midfield that we needed to, secure up that midfield, but he wasn't. And I mean, we'll come on to the goal eventually, but Grant is at fault for that. Positives on the team lineup, though. I mean, I don't even know what we played. Was it a 4-3-3? I would say. When the team sheet comes out and it's number based, it's hard to pick who's playing where when you've got defenders playing midfield and stuff like that. But I think it was a 4-3-3. But a couple of positives from the team lineup. I thought Archie Davies looked good. I am a fan of Archie Davies. I think he offers us a lot going forward. I thought he started the game well, and that sort of declined throughout the game. Towards the end of the game, them crosses started to get a bit poor. They weren't really beating the first man. But in the first 70, 80 minutes, I thought he looked good. He was getting forward. He was bombing forward. He was, taking players on. He was using a bit of skill that he's got. He had good link-up play with whoever was moving on to his side. It was Linney, it was Ellis. It was a rotation of players. But I thought Archie Davies looked good, and I'm glad that he's fit and he's ready to play again, because he gives a good option on that right-hand side, even going forward as a right winger when we might need him. I think he would be a decent option as well. Mugabe at centre-back, I thought he looked fantastic. Considering what we had on Saturday, and considering all the talk we've had in the recent years about the defence looking shaky and stuff, I thought he looked really confident on the ball. He's massive, he's strong, he was winning the headers, but he wasn't afraid to just step out of the defence and take the defence forward. He'd get the ball down on his feet, and he'd realise, if I get past this player, I've got 10 yards, and then just got past the player, and there you go, he's got 10 yards to move us up the pitch, and then plays the ball off to the second man. So I thought he looked confident. I would keep him in the starting 11 for Saturday, to be honest. I thought he looked really good. I think him and Feeney will be a fantastic centre-back partnership if they can both stay fit. Fantastic to see Feeney on the bench warming up like yesterday, because obviously there was a lot of talk that he's going to be out for, all year or whatever, but great to see him back on the grass. Great to see him back amongst the Matchday 18 as well. But into the game, as we said, I thought Carlisle were very negative. I thought when you invited the pressure from Solihull looked the better of the teams. I mean, fair play to them, but and again, you can't really come across as arrogant or cocky because we've just drew against Bowman Wood after being 3-1 up, and then we've just made Solihull look like a fantastic team. But it shouldn't be like that at home. At home, the whole thing of Brunton Park being the fortress is just going to be another line of jokes that we have against us, like a little beating stick on the north. Didn't work out, did it? People laughed at us for that. And I'm pretty sure there's other ones as well. But now Brunton Park a fortress, and we're making teams look absolutely fantastic against us. If Brunton Park's a fortress, Bowman Wood don't come back at 3-1 down. Solihull don't outplay us for 70 minutes of the game. But whatever. I mean, at least we've got disco lights in the Warwick though. I mean, that's another story for another day. But an absolute embarrassment that is. Whoever signed off on that, by the way, needs sacked. Bloody disco lights when we've scored a goal. And I mean, it's terrible and there's no excuse for it. But imagine being 1-0 down at home against Solihull Moors in a game where you've been, very much on the back foot. You equalise in the 80th minute to make it 1-1, and then you get little party lights as if you've just, won the league or something. Absolute embarrassment. Terrible. Yeah, that's a little rant about that over. But no, just on the whole with the game, I thought we looked poor, and it doesn't thrill you with excitement when you get home and you listen to Hughes' interview and he was relatively pleased with the performance. It really, really strikes you with fear if that's the level of performance that is going to be accepted this season, because if it is, we're going to be mid-table and we'll still be a National League side next season. I'm going to be honest. But similar mistakes to last year, similar mistakes to the year before, similar mistakes to Saturday. We need to improve the midfield. We mentioned it on Saturday. Defence looked a bit more solid. As I say, with Mugabe in there, I think with Feeney that would be great. I didn't think Sam Murray had a bad game. I see a few people picking him out. I don't think he had a terrible game. Some of his crosses were decent. We've seen that he's got a good delivery. Maybe with some more time and experience, he might come good as well. But that midfield is in desperate repair. I think tonight showed it with the lack of what's the word I'm looking for here? Lack of creativity for one, but lack of rotation available. Whelan goes out, massive miss Whelan. I thought Embleton was a miss as well, to be fair. McAdam looks good. I think he's one of our starting midfielders, but Ellis and Grant wasn't working for me. But into the game, Carlisle, as I say, didn't really create a lot. Their first half just sort of passed by, to be fair. And really ironically enough, Ellis actually was let off with the same hospital pass that Josh Grant played in the second half. Ellis looks to skip Grant in the midfield and play to, I think it was Davis on the far side. Their player nicks in and then plays it through. Luckily their player was offside. That would have been 1-0 because he did put the ball in the back of the net, but he was offside. But that pass that we've seen didn't work in the first half. Come back to bite us in the second half. Davis with a crossing. I think it was either Davis or Linney with a crossing. The defender's got like a loop and dive and header and put it onto the roof of the net. It looked a fan. When I watched it on the night, I thought it was actually Armstrong or someone flicking it on. It sort of happened that quickly, but no, it was a defender that flicked it on. It would have been a great finish if it went in, but it just went over the bar. But when one of the talking points is there, defenders heading out for a corner, the game wasn't fantastic. And then the cross came in for Jack Ellis. He's got the head onto it. He was a long way from goal. I think he maybe could have done better, but there wasn't a lot of power on it. Goalkeeper made a meal out of it, really. It didn't look too good, and then we move into the second half, and the big talking point, of course. I mean, Josh Grant's got all the time in the world, which is the worst thing about it. There was no need to rush. There was no need to panic. He had the time and the space just to pick out a pass. And going back to that negative play, if he just, sort of calmed himself down and looked up instead of looking backwards, he maybe could have just flicked it to the left back somewhere. He maybe could have played it long to a Regan Linney or whoever was on the wing, but no, he's played it backwards to Thomas. I mean, Thomas is the easy option. I don't even think Thomas is the best option there. The pass isn't anywhere near Thomas. It's shocking. It really, really is. I mean, the amount of time and space he's got, he doesn't need to panic with the ball there. But he does. He's played it. Their player beats Thomas to the ball, plays the through ball, and there's 1-0 to Solihull Moors, and we go 1-0 down to a Craney goal. And yeah, we're our own worst enemy. We've been our own worst enemy for 3 seasons, and we're still our own worst enemy. But no, it was a terrible, terrible pass from Josh Grant. There's no getting away from that. And they take advantage. And I mean, teams must be laughing at that if we're going to be giving them opportunities like that at the fortress that is Brunton Park. But it is what it is. I mean, there was a good ball in by Sam Murray, trouble in the defence. Kelly knocks it down. Thomas takes a touch and then just places it into the back of the net to make it 1-1. That was in the 80th minute, and then you get that flurry after a goal where, right, let's go and win it type of thing. Obviously the winner didn't come, but must ask questions of Hughes as well. I think, his after-match interview for a start really didn't strike me with any confidence this season. But 2 substitutes when you're chasing the game. You've got Embleton on the bench, you've got Whelan on the bench. Embleton can give you some creativity. Whelan can just sort of sit back and let when Mugabe go forward, to challenge in the box when these crosses come in. Even Robson's come off the bench this season and scored, and he sat on the bench as well. I just thought that the substitutes could have been used more. Bradford fans literally told us that Hughes is quite stubborn with his substitutes, but I'm going to allude back to that post-match interview. I wasn't a fan of it. At least, not to go back to Simo, but at least Simo just told it how it was. Do you know what I mean? Instead of trying to, smooth over the cracks or whatever. But no, I thought the 2 substitutes, they looked all right when they came on, but I thought we could have had more. I would have liked to see the Embleton. I wouldn't mind seeing them Whelan come on. To be fair, Robson give a bit of fresh legs in the midfield as well. But the two substitutes, it just sort of seemed we could have made more. And then Kelly had a bit of good footwork. His shot was blocked. There was a bit of scramble in the box. Linney had an effort that the keeper saved, and Labamba had an effort. I'm butchering his name. I'll get it right one day. He had an effort as well that fell straight into the goalkeeper's arms, and that was the game. Carlisle United 1, Solihull Moors 1 in another disappointing performance from Carlisle. And now we travel to London to play Wellstone, who are top of the league, unbeaten. 3 games, 3 wins. But, Carlisle will butter it up that we're unbeaten, and that unbeaten campaign continues, of course, the mill. But it's been... It was disappointing yesterday. It was disappointing for 90 minutes. I'd like to see. I think it's Braintree next on Easter Monday. Bank holiday Monday. I would like to see Carlisle really come out the blocks firing in that game. Bit of confidence, take it forward. We take the game to Braintree instead of Braintree taking the game to us. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, Wellstone is the next game for Carlisle. Hopefully we can bounce back. We said that on Saturday. The positive is we didn't play well and we didn't lose, I guess. But it still leaves a bit of taste in the mouth for Carlisle. But again, outworked at home against a team that I can't say we should be beaten, because we're not beating teams like this. But for me, it was disappointing from Carlisle's perspective, of course. But hey ho, we move on. Wellstone's next. What did you think of the game? Let me know in the comments down below. There won't be a match day in a minute for this one, purely because I was there with my mates. I didn't record anything of the game, to be honest. I do like to enjoy the game every now and then, but no, I apologise if you enjoyed the Matchday in a Minute series. There won't be one for this game, but I will try my best to do them for the rest of the games coming up. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the game? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for the support on the channel. I've been See You all for, and I'll see you in the next one.